Hello, hello. Welcome to Top Shelf Backpacking. Today we are starting a new series called Trail Fails, where this will be a little longer format. Not sure how often these will go out. They won't always have guests, but today with me is Dura, aka Mike. And today we are going to be talking about that time we hiked a marathon to poop in an actual toilet. Because...
Actual toilet.
Well, yeah, that is. Trisha Hikes on TikTok said she wanted to hear about that day after I commented we don't talk about that day in regard to my ramen bomb video and how the ramen bomb led to us hiking a marathon. So we are headed up to a trailhead to do an overnight, but while we are on the road here, you can join us and hear about our first well, not our first fail, but the first one we're going to talk about. This is kind of a combination of trail tales from Cal Heights hiking, hopefully never that dire, and John's dad's hikes. Let's see, he calls it Monday mistakes. So we're going to get on the road here and talk about that time we hiked a marathon to use a toilet.
I will say, to start it off, it was a fantastic gut bomb that you gave me.
Right?
It was absolutely delicious.
Ramen bombs are delicious.
Added some, what was it? Did we bring the secret aardvark on that? I don't remember. Know. It was a long day.
It was. So let me set the stage for you here. This was 2019, my second longish trail, Mike's first. The whole trip was a 120-mile trip, 7 days, 8 days, I don't even remember how many days we were out there. It was a loop around the Three Sisters in Central Oregon, and then we hiked the PCT up to Mount Jefferson. I want to say McLaughlin. The name McLaughlin. Mount Jefferson. And then we hiked out there and got picked up. So this particular fail day was day 3 of the trip. The day before we had summited South Sister. We came up from the east. That'll be a video in itself.
That was a shit show and a half.
It really was. So after we summited South Sister, we went down to Moraine Lake, which is on the south side of South Sister. And I enjoyed swimming around, kind of getting all the dust off me. That was one of the hardest things we'd ever done. Again, that'll be its own video eventually. But when you camp at Moraine Lake, you have to camp in designated campsites. There's one, like 5 or 6 of them.
Yep. And
they're up above the lake. So it is a half-mile trek from the lake up.
At a 45-degree angle, it felt like, too. Ridiculous.
So we get, I think, the last campsite there, because I spend so much time, frolicking like I do. And I was just enjoying not being atop a mountain anymore, because it sucked going up, it sucked going down. What I didn't think about when we packed up to go up to the campsite from the lake shore, because there's signs everywhere saying, don't camp here, do not camp here. And we had already had run-ins with rangers, so we knew they're out there. Yep, that'll be its own episode. She has no idea how close she came to dying that day. So what would have been smart was let's camel up, let's fill our water bags so we can hit the ground running. We didn't have long water carries that day, but we definitely needed water to start the day, to make breakfast, and get everything topped off before we headed out. I failed to think about that. So first thing in the morning that day, I made the 1 mile round trip down to the lake to fill both of our bags, fill our bottles, and come back up.
Like a hero.
So, right, before we even started, I'm a mile deep already. Now, by these 5 or 6 campsites, there is a small grove of trees. That is the only cover around. We're not above tree line, but we are in the Central Oregon desert and near alpine at this point. So I wandered off to go to the bathroom. Again, this is day 3. Might have been the first time I'd had to dig an actual cat hole at that point. It takes my body a few days to acclimate. And I tried to encourage Dura here to hey man, you should go do it too.
No, I'm fine.
He wasn't a big fan of that, mainly because there really wasn't good cover. It's and that has to be where everybody goes. You know what I mean? And I said, well, that's why if you see anybody over there, don't go over there, because you know absolutely what they're doing. He said, no, I'll be fine.
I was, by the way.
Initially.
Kind of.
Our itinerary that day, I don't remember how many miles. I want to say probably take us from Moraine Lake to the PCT, and we would start hiking north. We had started at, I want to say it's like Devil's Lake Campground. That's where we got dropped off on a Friday night, and they had a vault toilet and all of this, and that was where we'd kind of complete our loop and then, you know, continue up the PCT. So at what point in the day did you start to realize you needed a cat hole before the day was over?
So I'd had the ramen bomb the night before.
Okay.
Before we went to bed that night.
Okay. It's a good meal after you summit a mountain for the first time.
Fantastic meal, absolutely. Yep. I want to say we'd gotten to about lunch break-ish.
Okay.
When I was like, okay, I might not have a choice in the matter.
True.
And the deal was, like, well, you know what? No, I think I can make it. I did. I shouldn't have tried.
Well,
it was...
So there were no planned toilets that day because we weren't going to be anywhere near a campground till the following day, like midday. But when I looked on my Far Out app, I said, like, well, like if we hike 26.4 miles, 27.4 for me because of the water, we can make it back to the campground where we started, and they do have a vault toilet there. So if you want to hike a marathon today, you can sit down to use the bathroom. Keep in mind, this is day 3. We just summited a mountain. We're not in amazing shape. Also, we have a planned exit, like someone's coming to pick us up. So being half a day ahead of schedule
wasn't great.
Doesn't help us at all.
No.
Means we have more time to, you know, take our time along the way. But there is no reason to be getting ahead of schedule.
There was a good reason. All right.
So, somewhere around the time we were supposed to be stopping for the day, granted it was still early afternoon, we were making good time, but my feet were starting to hurt. I kind of wanted to use the bathroom and just relax, and he kept wanting to push on, and because of that 26.4 mileage, part of me did, you know, say, yeah, like, it's pretty cool to say you've hiked a marathon. You know, definitely did it not sub 3 hours, but we did it over some freaking mountains.
Right.
So, you know, that's something in itself.
Eat it, Boston.
Exactly. Yeah, I see your hills and I raise you mountains. So eventually we made it the 26.4 and the 27.4. We got kind of a mediocre spot to sleep next to the little Devil's Lake there at the campground, because at that point, let's say that must have been like, no, I guess it was a weekday.
Yeah.
But there were, you know, it's summertime, good amount of people staying there. The troubles for me, why this is a fail and not just like, oh yeah, that time we ate ramen and hiked a marathon. As we were getting closer to the end of that day, we passed a handful of people just out day hiking, and they were telling us about Belknap Ridge. So Belknap Ridge is something I kind of knew about, but didn't fully understand its full force. So Belknap Ridge is a bunch of volcanic rock, think volcanic softball size stuff, and like a 10-mile stretch up toward Big Lake Youth Camp where there's no water. And so what these people were saying was, oh, if you're, you know, planning to make it to this campground tonight, you're getting up nice and early so you don't get caught in the heat of the day out there on Belknap Ridge. And I was like, I don't know. Like, we're a half a day ahead of schedule.
Why are we getting up early?
I planned on sleeping in. So, no, but apparently we need to be worried about this. Because, you know, I'm just picturing, you know, the desert hitting me and, you know, no one, because everybody's already gone through there for the day, I don't get found for at least a day. And I feel like I slept in kind of, I remember like 7:30 or 8 waking up, but I slept like shit. And the reason I slept like that is my feet were on fire. If you've ever stayed in water, like had soggy feet for too long where they start to crack and burn, that's how my feet felt.
Oh.
I didn't want to look at my feet in the morning because I was like, they for sure fell off in the night.
It ran away.
They hurt so bad. And it was kind of like, I was like, hey man, can you like peek at my feet? How are we looking here? And he was like, yeah, they look fine, dude.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, I don't want to see them all bloody. I can't. And he's like, yeah, no, they look completely normal. dire. And here we are having to hike, I don't know how much of this 10 miles dry stretch is on this lava rock, but it's all I can see in front of me.
Also, it felt like it while you're on the lava rock. That entire 10-mile stretch was on the lava rock.
So Dura kind of smoked me through it because I was being very slow coming over Belknap because I was so concerned about like rolling an ankle and just, dying of heat stroke. By the time we ended up at Big Lake Youth Camp, I think I had like an extra 1.5 liters of water, carried way more water than we needed to. It wasn't as dire, it wasn't as hot, exposed as all get out, but it wasn't as wild as a July day in the Oregon desert would lead you to believe.
Late July.
Yep. Eventually my feet did recover. It took a few days before they felt anywhere near normal, but we could say that we had hiked a marathon thanks to the ramen bomb, and damn it, he pooped in a toilet. Although I would have argued, going in the little grove was probably better, more scenic, and definitely smelled better.
It definitely smelled better.
But that is our first episode of Trail Fails. There will be many more talking about that trip. There were lots and lots of fails.
Day one.
Yep, there were regrets, things I would do differently, but you'll have to check back later for those. So, for more information on all the things you see on this channel, visit topshelfbackpacking.com. And until I see you again, cheers.
Cheers.